Something drew me near to you. I never knew where evil grew.
Hello, welcome back. It's John. I'm here with another summary video for my region of the West Marches, Geistridge. We're covering sessions 10, 11, and 12. We've got evil vampires, we've got ancient ruins, we've got scheming kobolds, all the great Geistridge content that you tune in for. So let's get started. So first up was session 10, Climbing the Tower. Which tower exactly? Well, it's the Tower of Karmic the Golden, the magical tower from the ancient city of Glorianus that has been teleporting around Geistridge unpredictably. Now, finally, in this session, the players had a way to predict where it would show up, and so they would be ready when it happened. They found the spot, they staked it out, they were waiting for the tower when they noticed a retreating caravan of kobolds that were headed away from Globetown. The kobolds were injured. A lot of them were looking very beat up and sad. And they also, the players were able to notice, had some dead humans that they had captured, presumably from Globetown. But the players chose not to get involved. They have important work to do this session. Eventually, the tower arrives. This massive arcane tower slams into the side of this mountain or hill that they're waiting on, and they start climbing up. They have an idea of what's waiting for them, and the first thing waiting for them is the dancing angel, an automaton from Glorianus, a very powerful security automaton that is designed to kill wizards and adventurers who would dare try to steal or attack a noble. So this was a pretty serious fight. This was a very powerful monster. It had all kinds of actions. It had a very powerful music ability that would debuff players and buffed itself. I knew it was going to be a huge challenge for the players before they showed up, and I really wanted to. You have to prove that you're strong enough to get up this tower, and they did a fantastic job, especially. Once the Bard Galadrin cast Silence, that really turned the odds in their favor. They had at least a fighting chance. The three marshals, two barbarians, and one poor under-leveled fighter, who that fighter every single turn got healed up at like 5 HP, taunted the boss, and then immediately got put back down again. But it's as a marshal, it's not about how hard you get hit. It's about how the rest of the quote. Anyways, they did a fantastic job. They managed to eventually beat the dancing angel and make their way up to the top of the tower. Well, what do they find up there? They find the laboratory. This contained tons of magical documents, potion-making supplies, magical items stashed away. Notably, it contained several nobles from Glorianus, powerful nobles who were put in basically suspended animation, magically frozen in time, waiting in this tower until they could be revived and survive the maelstrom that way. However, the leader of this expedition, Corvo, he is a noble. He's from that noble family, and he knows the terrible things they did. And so when he finds these nobles, he kills them, doesn't give them a chance to be revived, even though they are his parents. And the rest of the party is, fine to let him do what he needs to do. No love lost over these Glorianus nobles. Another thing they find up in this level of the tower are the brothers. The brothers are a very powerful devil that was trapped in a summoning circle in this tower. And they're actually quite cordial. Obviously, being trapped, the brothers are quite willing to strike any sort of deal to get unstuck. And so after some brief haggling, the players agree to free him from the summoning circle in exchange for the fact that I think he owes them 3 questions that they can call on. Also, he's not allowed to harm them for the next 50 years. So that's a pretty good deal, and the brothers get freed from the tower, so that won't have any negative consequences. Um, After that, it's time to go to the top of the tower and hopefully find Corvo's long-lost noble sister and face whatever remains of Karmic the Golden. Well, Karmic the Golden is up there waiting for him. He is completely insane after all these years. He's flying around on a magic chair, very powerful mage, but the players manage to stop him. They also find up there Verdun, Corvo's sister, who was basically transformed into a giant were-raven beast so that her magical potential could help power this tower as it teleports around and skips through time. But they manage to slay Karmic the Golden, take all his magical loot. They manage to reverse or at least calm down the transformation affecting Verdun so that she could turn back into her humanoid form and escort them out of the tower. And they find a bunch of magical loot, and they also find a map of Old Glorianus, a very detailed map of the ancient city, the greatest city in this or any age, that perhaps they can use to find more ruins. Afterwards, in the last section of this session, they are camping out outside the ruins of the tower. The tower does not teleport anymore because they've disabled its magical power. They get a visit from Count Rodar von Glauer, but Count Rodar is not the normal, charming, well-dressed self. Well, he's well-dressed, but he's covered in blood is the problem. He shows up. He is holding the head of Marcus, the kobold from Session 1, and he is clearly not happy about what has occurred, what the kobolds have done to his city. And the players are obviously a little nervous to have a bloodthirsty, enraged vampire in their camp, so they're happy to just tell Count Rodar which direction he needs to go to find the rest of those kobolds. And he takes flight, leaving the players to return victorious. Brings us to Session 11, The Show Must Go On. This is a very exciting session. It is the play that Count Rodar von Glauer has been planning, and Globetown has been rehearsing for months now, and the players are invited.
Okay, let's start casting this puppy. Yeah. Now, who shall play the most handsome count in all the world?
Would you do it, sir?
Oh, all right.
So, yes, the players have this invitation to go see the Count's play. They start heading up to Globetown. On the way, they meet Half, the werewolf, and he is arguing with some kobolds over a dead Modron, both of them claiming the Modron should be their prize. The players love Half, or at least like him a lot more than the kobolds, and basically tell the kobolds to F off, which annoys the kobolds, but the players not worried about it. And they continue on to Globetown. Globetown, of course, the captive audience or captive actors of Count Rodar von Glauer, an entire town who spends the entire year rehearsing for Count Rodar's plays. This year's play is Death's War for Love's True Kiss, and Count Rodar von Glauer is there waiting for them. They sit down to a wonderful dinner. Count Rodar von Glauer is charming and confident and smooth as always, and the players are polite and get along with him well, but clearly he's not someone you want to mess with, and all the townsfolk are worried to the point of panic that they are going to disappoint their vampire lord. They get a brief moment to talk to Solomon, the young hero of Globetown, in private. Solomon asks for the players' help during the evening, needing to get some sick townsfolk who will probably die if they stay in Globetown. He needs a way to sneak them out to go back to Oriana. There's also Count Rodar's manor house in Globetown, which no one is allowed to enter or no one is allowed to move through freely, and the players want to basically break in and snoop around in there. Both of those things they do successfully, but there's an additional challenge. Count Rodar needs extra actors, and he thinks the players will do a wonderful job. And so throughout the night, various players get called up to basically improv their way through certain roles. And this was super fun to DM, and the players did an excellent job. A little bit of freeform improv roleplay as their characters was very enjoyable. However, things get tense later in the night when a large scene calls for Count Rodar to furnish the stage with some extra actors. But due to the attack of the kobolds, he does not have that many actors. So, what is a vampire to do? Use zombies. And the zombies don't have any speaking lines, they're just there in the background. Should work great, right? Well, one of the actors, the human actors, just can't handle the pressure of acting on stage surrounded by these threatening zombies, and basically panics, forgets his lines, and Count Rodar is less than enthusiastic. He calls that actor to come visit him at the back of the theater, and let's just say his performance review is not positive. Yeah. Count Rodar von Glauer throws him into a brick wall, in which immediately paralyzes this person. The players do what they can to help this guy. They heal him a little bit. They keep him from dying, basically. But they can't afford to leave Count Rodar von Glauer unattended, and they don't want to make him too angry. But the rest of the night goes fairly well. The players do break into the manor. They steal some of Count Rodar's items. Um, Jane, who is, spoiler alert, a bit of a vampire herself, tries to charm Count Rodar von Glauer and does a pretty good job of at least being friendly, making conversation. They share a dance later in the evening, and Jane basically tries to imply the seeds of a relationship that might help Oriana in the long run. Um, I, as a dungeon master, am going to share that basically both Count Rodar and Jane have excellent charisma rolls, but totally bomb their insight rolls. So Jane and Count Rodar both think that the other is head over heels in love with them, um, but they have no idea that they're both basically lying, which is fantastic and dramatic. So yes, Jane tries to basically form an alliance with Count Rodar von Glauer, and shares some semi-romantic, semi-threatening moments with the Vampire Lord. At the very end of the evening, towards the end of the play, the star reappears, the vampire spawn of Count Rodar von Glauer. She is jealous of the stage no longer being her home, and jealous of losing Count Rodar's attention, basically, and comes to attack the play. The players are able to stop the star before she wreaks too much havoc, and Count Rodar von Glauer stakes her, paralyzing her, and plans to take her back to his castle in the north. So that brings us to session 12, Ruins of Empire. In this session, it's a lower level party, and they've been tasked with picking up the scraps left behind in the tower. The party that defeated the tower of Carmack the Golden did not have the time or the resources to extract all the treasures, and so this lower level party is basically being sent to pick up the scraps, see what is useful, what can be taken back to Oriana. And so they head that direction, but they first run into a legion of kobolds right on the border between Geistridge and Oriana. The kobolds here seem to be preparing for a fight. It is, spoiler alert, the hobgoblins. And the players are pretty friendly with these kobolds. They have a meal in the center of the army camp, and they meet a particular kobold who's not a soldier, but kind of has a secret conversation with the players and offers to give them gold and maybe a magic item if they can get some spell books and give it back to them. The players are like, okay, well, if we find some spell books, we'll stay in touch. And that kobold leaves. The players head onto the tower. The tower is almost in ruins. Its library is still full of valuable books, though, and so each of the players have a chance to poke through the library and see what might be useful to take back to Oriana, including some spell books. One of the players finds a section on summoning demons and devils, and while he's checking that out, the brothers are back, and they offer this particular player a small deal. Basically, if they sign this contract, the brothers A, promise not to hurt them, and B, promise to give them some tips on how they can summon some demons and devils of their own. The player, eager for this kind of knowledge, accepts, and a mysterious page appears in every single book in this library, covered in infernal ruins with instructions on how to summon devils. But the players at least avoid a fight with the brothers, and the brothers depart. The players take their now slightly strange books and head on to their second destination. Their second destination are attempting to find the ruins of Glorianus, specifically the noble quarters of Glorianus. So the players head that direction when they are ambushed by a bunch of these undead tree creatures. It is a very tough fight, and one of the players even dies because of some very unlucky rolls. The players do get some help from some nearby kobolds, who, what do you know, for some reason, the kobold they met earlier is here with a bunch of fellow soldiers who can help the players defend themselves, and after that fight is over, they make their deal from earlier, where the kobolds get some spellbooks and the players get some gold. Players don't really have any reason to be suspicious, or they don't have any reason to avoid this transaction. They do make some high insight rolls on the leader of these kobolds, and they can tell that this kobold really wants these magic items, but also really hates them for some reason, is hiding his anger. And I would ask you, dear video watcher, can you think of any kobold who knows that Oriana is good at magic, but would have a reason to really hate them? Seems weird, huh? Well, the players did not recognize this particular kobold, so they carried on with their mission, and so they left that kobold, gave them the spellbooks, and went to find the noble quarters of Glorianus. Eventually they do, after going through this underground and then underwater cave, encounter the warped ruins underground of the noble quarters, full of these tall, towering buildings and ruins. The players only get a chance to basically poke around for a few minutes before deciding they're out of resources and they need to get back to Oriana. But they have found this, which is going to be a site of future exploration. So that was all the content for the specific sessions, but I would like to update you on what happened after and during the Hobgoblin invasion of Oriana. If you weren't there, it was a fantastic event. We had like 7 DMs and like 30 players. It was a great evening. The city of Oriana is saved, and the kobolds were there to help due to the previously negotiated arrangement between the Supreme Commander of the Kobolds and Oriana. The Kobolds promised to help if Oriana was ever attacked, and so when it was attacked, the Kobolds came to help. And it was a crushing defeat for the Hobgoblins. Basically, once the players have fought off the first wave of the invasion, the Kobolds came from behind the attacking Hobgoblin army and were able to, if not kill all of them, at least chase all of them off. But the kobolds, after winning their victory, they did not go back to Geistridge. They are staying around Geistridge, or sorry, staying around Oriana. And they are building farms. They're building farmland. This is part of the treaty between Oriana and the Drangolin Republic. And this is quite unnerving to some of the players because they know that, yes, the kobolds are just here to make farms, but they also know that the kobolds are a very expansionist republic. And when you are expanding and making more farms, it's because you always want more. And the players are rightfully nervous about what this means for the future of Oriana if the kobolds are basically setting up shop right on their doorstep. So yeah, that brings us to the end of the summary. At this point, things with the kobolds are really heating up. Things with Count Rodar von Glauer have are bad and getting worse, basically, but also getting interesting. And the Tower of Carmack the Golden has been captured and defeated. Now it's time to dive into the depths of the ruins of Glorianus to see what can be uncovered from that. Shout out to Lily, one of the players who met the brothers and was there for the defense of Oriana for this wonderful fan art. And thank you for watching.